Hello, friends. Here we are. We are back. It is the REBBL Playoffs, round of 61. The Grungy Desserts, coached by Stouticus, and Higher Than the Grinder by Blissful Fire. And I'm here with Mr. Christie.
Hello there.
Hi, Sean Man. Hi, Jameis. And hello, Hummerset. This Stouticus from REL 2A. I recapped that division this season, and Mr. Christie recaps with Stouticus. What divisions do you recap?
We recapped 3A this season.
There you go. So there may be a mild amount of bias here, but that's fine. I'll try. I also know Blissful Fire. We played in some leagues before, so I know who he is. Of course, Stouticus, like I said, 2A, and Blissful Fire, coaching some High Elves. Why can't I remember what division they're in? I just looked this up. I literally just looked this up. And now I can't remember where it is.
I believe it's one of the fives.
It's G-Man somewhere. Literally, there it is. It's 5E in G-Man. I literally looked this up before we started and then immediately forgot because that's the kind of production value I have. Blissful Fire is very good. I've played Bliss before. He's a very good coach. And I played him when he was playing Nurgle. So he is very much aware of how to play against a Nurgle, having played as Nurgle. So this is Grungy Desserts. This is Stouticus. This team was one of the biggest, I think, in the division, but they've been trimmed a little bit recently. At one point this season, they were like 2250. They're down to 2170, which is still pretty big. Not as big as they were. They did lose a Pestigore here.
They lost that Pestigore like the week before the last week, so week 12.
Yeah, very recently. I don't remember what that Pestigore was.
It was a ball stacking Pestigore.
Oh, that was the second strength 4 wrestle tackle Pestigore that I had recapped. There was multiple. There's another one in row 1. Anyway, so we've got a Beast of Nurgle, of course. It's relatively standard. Guard, stand firm, break, tackle. It's got the 3 things that most Nurgle beasts take. Complement of Nurgle warriors. 2 of them have Claw, Mighty Blow, tackle. 3 of them with guard. 1 of them is a mini beast with strength, block, and tentacles. However, he's slower than the beast, being movement 3. I say mini, but the same strength. And this one has block. That's a pretty useful piece. Grabbing strength on a Nurgle warrior and then being able to grab tentacles right away is super fun.
I love taking tentacles on the high strength players.
Oh, it's so good on Nurgle warriors if you can get strength on it. Rookie Pestigore, unfortunately, used to be a ball sacker. Now we've got a rookie instead. There is Yellow Brownie, the ball carrying Pestigore, who has Agi 4 and then fake Agi 5 for dodging, as well as fake unlimited Agi for picking up in as many tackle zones as he feels like. Which is pretty good at recovering. It worked really well with the Sacker, but the Sacker no longer exists. So a little bit less of a dynamic duo now. Morning, Animo. All Apple Pie is the ever-present meme who is, not 1-in-9ing himself to death anymore.
He'll find a way. He'll find a way.
It'll be double skulls instead of both downs this time. Donut in the hole. The plus movement. Frenzy Juggernaut piece. Very good surfing threat. Throw him in the middle of the pitch and he can do kind of whatever he wants. Doesn't have stand firm yet, so he's available for counter surfing. But that depends on what the other team looks like. There's a bunch of rotters. Who cares about them? The one thing to note here is that this team is 2170. So if we go and we find, if I believe we're on page 6 somewhere. There it is. Higher Than the Grinder. Blissful Fire. This team is 1260. There are fewer elves here. It's worth noting that because of all the loner elves we're going to see, this team is going to be 1470, and Stouticus is 2170, so it's 700k TV exactly, unless something changes. But that's a lot of TV. 700,000. I mean, I don't even know what you take at that point.
Well, I know what I'd take if I was playing my halflings with that much, but...
Oh, well, yeah, Deep Root and a Chef. But unfortunately...
well, that's only 40k.
That's true. You still have 300 to go.
Sorry, 400k.
Wizard.
Zara. Zara for that. Speaking of which, these high elves could actually take Zara in there, along with the wizard.
True. And there's a couple good, of course, there's some good high elf star players, and there's some really expensive ones you don't see too often that we might get a hold of.
There's always Eldril.
Yeah, exactly. Eldril, and then there's the other ones that are less good and more expensive, but Moranian. And then there's the Sorin High Tower, who no one ever takes, but we'll see what Blissful Fire decides to do. Blissful Fire is a very good coach, and certainly does know how to play as Nurgle, so I'm interested to see what the opinions are there. One rookie blitzer, one sort of blitzing blitzer, just hasn't rolled doubles for Mighty Blow yet, so he's got Tackle, Dodge, and Frenzy. One piece that is always annoying. You might look at this team and be like, look, there are like 6 players. The Nurgle are just gonna run all over them. Battered. I present to you the case of the Movement 8 Agi 5 elf. As long as he is on the field, the Nurgle are terrified about losing this game. It turns out it's really annoying to deal with Agi 5, and more importantly, it's more... Sorry, you kind of cut out there a bit?
Oh yeah, Agi 5 is just cheating, basically.
Oh yeah, and the Nurgle have such a hard time playing against high movement players sometimes because they're slow. So Movement 8 and Agi 5 is kind of a terrifying combination for Nurgle. So we'll see if Blissful Fire can abuse that guy a little bit. Little bit of a thrower in Blowed, but high as a kite. Second thrower, you don't see that very often, but he is a rookie. And then we're gonna have a bunch of idiot linemen. I wonder. So let's. I feel personally that this is. I mean, Nurgle favored. There's a lot of inducements, but I think the Nurgle can probably deal with them. But you can never count out elves, especially not ones with this many inducements and Agi 5. What do you feel?
I was just thinking also for his inducements, he might actually just take a few extra linemen too.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Like star players have the benefit of both being a star player who is useful, but also giving you a pseudo bench because you're adding another player beyond the loners you get. So a bench is probably not something that would be a miss for the high elves going up against these.
I would definitely not be against after getting your wizard, obviously, and maybe Eldril. I don't know about Eldril. He sometimes just takes himself out.
It's true, but he's Hypnogaze, which is the big thing.
But then just getting a few loner linemen to just fill up the bench a bit, that I think would be really good for this team.
Yeah, and you definitely want a wizard in there somewhere. And depending on how aggressive you're feeling, maybe another Apo, just so that you have the option of super aggressive Apoing like a KO or a badly hurt or something to make sure that you have that important player for the rest of the game and not worrying about having someone die or whatever. But Eldril is good. Moranian is good. Strength 4, Agi 4. He's expensive, 230, but you've got 700, so why not? Hopefully this should be getting started shortly. We may have mistimed this a little bit, but to be fair, it was supposed to start like 3 minutes ago, so this isn't 100% on me. Moranian is better than 2 loners and an Apo. Yeah, probably, but I guess it depends.
I think it really depends, since Nurgle is so good at removing players, and the elves probably want some linemen on the line.
That's true, Incesticide. Strength 4 is really big versus Nurgle because the Pestigors blitz at Strength 4 and the Nurgle Warriors are Strength 4. Suddenly they actually need to commit another player to get assists, and that's kind of to deal with that guy. That's kind of annoying. But if the elves generally want to be on like defense first, and that gives the Nurgle free claw hits against 3 of your players, and suddenly you could be down a bunch of guys early. If those removals happen right away, you could be in trouble without a bit of a bench. But that really depends, right? Elves are pretty good without a lot of players, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what Blissful Fire decides to do, but it's probably been debating this for a while. There's a lot of options. Oh man. They should be going shortly. I don't know why they haven't started yet, but
Staticus says he's waiting for Blissful Fire right now.
There you go. suppose you have the inline on him. So
Oh no,
they
he
need to
just
be
said
kept
that in
together.
chat.
Oh, he's in chat. Hello. All right, well, I guess we started a bit too early, and maybe I should have confirmed that with the players ahead of time. But that's okay. I've got you guys, and I've got coffee. Which is all one really needs.
See, I'm not against getting a spare Appo for the elves, but in my experience, you're just gonna get all KOs.
Well, then you can just use one of the Appos to keep a KO on the field for a time that you think is important. However, that situation does tend to not occur as often as you'd like. You know, a lot of the KOs will be on rookies, or it'll be on like turn 7 where a stun is basically a removal, so Appoing the KO doesn't do anything other than make sure that he comes back on next half. So there's that possibility. I mean, I don't hate it. But I think the wizard is a necessity. I think Eldril is probably a necessity, and that's 450. So now we have what, 250 left?
Yeah.
So we could go Prince Moranian, or we could get another Appo and a. So no, maybe I just don't think you have enough to also get an Appo. It would be okay. I wouldn't be angry if we saw it, certainly. But I think Eldril and a wizard are like a necessary 350 spend right away. And then leaves you with 250 left, or two something left, 250, which is Moranian is 230. So you could just do that and have, now you have a bench of 2. You get 2 good star players. That's not bad. You could also just get some loners. Just a couple options there.
Yeah, I'm definitely not against the loners, just because removals will happen against Nurgle. Like these Nurgle that you're getting removed, something's getting removed.
That at some point, yeah. Is it 580 for Wiz, Moranian, and Eldril? Did I calculate? It's too early for math. Did I do math wrong? That's probably something that I would do. Isn't Eldril?
Yes, it's only 350 for Eldril and the wizard.
No, I did that right. Eldril wizard.
He's in 450.
Did I?
You did.
Math is hard. Okay, whatever.
I didn't catch it at first, but now that someone pointed out the actual prices, I'm like,
yeah, Eldril's 200. A wizard is obviously 150, and Moranian is 230. So 430 for Eldril and Moranian, and then 580 for adding the wizard there. So that's I'm okay. I'm dumb. It's too early for me. It's like 9 in the morning. I haven't finished my coffee yet. Please give me a break.
oh, you think it's early for you?
I know, right? Well, you volunteered for this. This is your fault. Although I suppose so did I, so I'm not allowed to complain. Oh, hello, kitty. No, you can't join the cast. I'm sorry.
Why not?
No, I don't have a camera on, so she wouldn't be seen. So you know. I didn't change time zones. I exist in a place that uses daylight savings time for some crazy reason. So I'm now UTC -4, when I'm normally UTC -3 because the daylight savings just recently changed over earlier this month.
Yeah, next year we're actually getting rid of that for over here.
Where are you?
BC.
Oh yes, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Which should be great because daylight savings is stupid.
Oh yeah, I hate the time change thing. It messes everything up like the week after for nothing.
Yes, and the day of is it's terrible. Should I drop one of my legend killers off my chaos because I will probably be relegating? I mean, I don't understand why you would.
I think that's a reason to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, if you relegate, it doesn't really, like, your TV doesn't really matter. Why would you get rid of one of your players?
Especially a legend player that's like, unless it's got tons of stat bust, I would just keep that.
Yeah. Nurgle and Chaos in general don't really care very much about getting inducements because most of their inducements aren't very good unless you have players that are specifically designed around. Oh, I have the wrong logo on the stream. Oops. I didn't notice that until right now. The last thing I cast was the REBBL Miners. So I had the REBBL logo up instead of the REBBL one. Nurgle and Chaos generally don't care very much about getting inducements, and they'd rather just have the players.
Yeah, it's like you said, they don't have very many good inducements.
Not unless you get lucky and get some agi players or whatever that you can use to take advantage of a wizard. That's a pretty specific situation. You need the players for it.
Yeah, like the only good star player I think they have is Borak. Just because Strength 5 block is really good.
Yeah, he's also a dirty player, which is fun, but you don't really, that's not what you use him for generally.
I mean, he's got the Mighty Blow, and that's also really good.
Yeah, I've used Borak before to good extent, but he's so expensive, it's difficult to get him, and most of the time when you're very close to getting Borak, it's probably just better to get like a bribe or something and utilize as Nurgle anyway, because you have cheap rotters. It's less, it's more debatable, I guess, with Chaos because your linemen are beastmen. But with Nurgle, I would pretty much rather just get 2 bribes a lot of the time than Borak. But if I have a ton of money, Borak is, or in rare situations. I mean, I think there's been a couple times where I've induced Borak just because I thought the strength would be helpful, and I was like missing a Nurgle warrior or something.
Yeah. My problem with Grashnak is he has no block, so he always rolls both downs.
Yeah, Grashnak is good. I mean, he's strength 6. The problem is he's 310k. So if you are a Chaos or Nurgle team down 300k, you're probably just losing. Like, regardless of what you take.
It's also my problem with Ripper. Like, Ripper is like considered good, but when I used him on a Goblin team, he always rolled both downs.
Yeah. He's strength 6. The big thing about Ripper is that he's strength 6 and he doesn't have really stupid. So
no, like he's like a better troll because generally your trolls are too stupid to get block.
He's also well, he can activate the other trolls because he's not really stupid. So if you have like a line of 3 trolls, you just use him to activate the other ones, and you don't have to worry too much about like moving a goblin into a dangerous spot or whatever, which is useful. At least in my opinion, in my like limited experience playing goblins in one-day tournaments.
Oh no, yeah, like Ripper's good, but like every time I used him, he would like knock himself down constantly.
No, it's all right. I'm in no major rush, Stouticus. We've got to try to find something to fill the airtime with, really, other than me drinking coffee and eating coffee crisp.
Coffee crisp.
Actually, one thing I find interesting while waiting for this game to start is there's a game of Scurry Squad versus Lords of Decay.
It's been there for like 2 years.
That game there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Callisti's there. But it's interesting because they were both in the division me and Stouticus were covering.
Oh.
So it's like a friendly game, I guess.
Well, it's a game that's been there. It's been stuck there for a really long time. Sometimes the...
Oh, is that just their game from back then?
Yeah, it's the same game that just never got cleared from the live Cabal Vision thing, because sometimes the cyanide is cyanide and games get stuck in there. Like, that game has been there for a long time. If you go to like rebel.net and look at like live games, that game is still showing as live, just because it's stuck in the like API somewhere. I'm
guessing Callisti has something to do with it.
It's about to start Darkest Dungeon, I assume. But it's we're waiting on one of the coaches to show up. They were scheduled to start a few minutes ago, but they haven't gotten going yet. I didn't make playoffs in Cesticide. I had a chance. I needed to win my last game, and then there was like 3 other games where if one of them was a loss or a tie for a particular team, I would jump above somebody. If all 3 of them won, it wouldn't have worked. But one of those games ended up being a tie, which was good enough. But then I was on the wrong end of the most ridiculous dicing I've ever been a part of in my entire life. From Jimmy Burrito. In half 1, he made 10 blocks and removed 9 players. So I had 4 players by turn 4, and it was literally like LOS block removal, LOS block removal, LOS block removal, blitz removal, next turn blitz removal, next turn blitz removal. Like, I've had 1 player on the field by turn 8, and that was only because he finally didn't get a removal with the last block. And one of the I also tried a foul at one point and got sent off. So the 10 blocks with 9 removals left me with 1 player. And then I had no players by the end of the second half. Like, it is a very disappointing and boring way to end the season, but, you know, seeing where it would have thrown me in the playoff brackets to have won that, maybe it probably was for the best.
Personally, I don't care which spot in the bracket I'd get for playoffs. I don't care so much about the seeding I'd get for anything, because I just assume, well, I got B at anyone I play against anyways.
I mean, that's true. And I certainly, it just would have been hard. And, you know, my team is not in great shape. It's like a 1500 Nurgle team, which is A, miraculous how I managed to do well enough to be in a playoff spot, I think, in the first place. So I'll take that. But B, it would be like my 1500 Nurgle team getting thrown up against, like, you know, Jimmy and the Sage and some other, like, good coaches with good teams in that section of the bracket. And I wouldn't have had much of a chance, I feel. But making playoffs would have been fun. At least I think I probably did well enough to stay in Rel 1, which is kind of good. I know, right? I'm a 1500 Nurgle team in Rel 1, so please tell me how well you think that's going. The answer is not very well. Well, actually, I did pretty good this season. I tied the other big Nurgle teams for the most part, and then I beat the Agi teams, which was kind of surprising for me. It's normally not how my games go.
I knew from the start of the season I had no playoff chance.
Are you playing Halflings again?
Yeah, this was the last season. Yeah.
Did you make Legend? With
my Lothicon got Legend.
Nice.
I had to fire everyone except for Twiggy on the team to make sure he got it. But when I'm getting to the last point and it's a bye week, I'm making sure I get the Legend. That's
fair. I mean, you're gonna end the team anyway, right? So
yeah.
Just get him the Legend and then retire gracefully. Whenever my team dies completely and I finally am motivated to reroll, which I say every season, I'm like, I'm gonna reroll this season. As long as like my team, you know, ends up in the same situation, I'll probably reroll, and then by the end of the season I'm like, nah, I want to keep playing it. Eventually I'll give up, maybe. And when I do, I'm definitely gonna do a season of something stupid like goblins or halflings or ogres or like a stunty thing, just for you know, fun for a season. I think it'll be good.
I don't know if my choice of team is the best since I went Bretonians for next season.
Bretonians are weird, but good in some ways. If you get lucky with levels, they're very good. I mean,
yeah,
you can play them as cool elves if you get a couple Agi ups on the Blitzers. See Calaric's Bretonian team for an example. The pro elves. If I played elves, I'd probably play high elves, I think.
If I was playing elves, I'd go pro elves. They're the ones I actually enjoy.
I've never played an elf team, like ever.
I barely played any, but the only one I've had any success with is pro elves.
Pro elves are cheaper and they look awesome. I mean, they do look awesome and they're kind of cool, but I don't know, something about high elves appealed to me.
I personally find high elves to be one of the more boring teams.
I think some aspect of that, maybe not for Science's high elf team in 2A, that has me a little excited about elves, because in the like illogical corner of my brain, I believe that I can have that too, which is the stupidest elf team I've ever seen in my life. So, you know, I would like to have that, but it would never happen. The match was supposed to start 19 minutes ago, so that's why we're sitting here just chatting about nonsense while looking at a Cabal TV screen. So we're waiting on one of the coaches to be available. Yes.
We're not waiting on Soundkiss. I sure hope not, because he's in chat.
Yeah.
I assume waiting to tell us he's going into inducements.
Yeah, basically. He'll tell us he's going into inducements, and then he'll jump out. There's no it's not like he did say he was coming, right? It's not like he just hasn't shown up. Oh, you haven't gotten a response. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate for a playoff match. But I have nowhere to go, at least not for the next little bit, so
yeah, I got a few hours before I need to
we'll wait for a bit, certainly, and we might have to, well, I mean, I don't want to speculate. We'll see what happens. For now, we are waiting, and we are hanging out and answering chat questions and attempting to be entertaining.
I mean, the only thing I'd be doing right now instead is going through Pokemon Sword.
Oh, I know. I got Shield yesterday, and then spent like an hour just wandering around the first wild area you run into instead of actually doing anything useful. And then realized, I was like, oh, I should go to bed, and I've done nothing. Great. That's what my evening was. Is a cucumber a fruit or a vegetable? I mean, I feel like it's a vegetable.
I think technically it's a fruit.
Is it?
Well, I think technically yes.
Doesn't a fruit not really have like a specific definition?
I don't know. A lot of things are fruits, and you don't realize it.
A lot of things are seeds, and you don't realize it. Like every single thing that you call a nut isn't a nut. Like almost all of them. It's like, hey, you know that thing that you call a nut? Not a nut. It's a seed.
Peanuts are definitely not nuts. They're just actually, they're like carrots.
They're like legumes. Yeah, peanuts are legumes. But it's called a peanut. Almost everything that you call a nut isn't one, and it's super annoying. Drives me nuts.
Drives me seeds.
Drives me seeds, yeah. Okay, so in common language, a fruit is normal.
There's Whistle Fire in the chat.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Fixing the internet.
Fixes the internet. Okay.
Oh, boo. Excellent. Well, there you go. Well, what was I saying? Oh, right. So fruits are a way in which a plant gets rid of seeds. In common usage, it's generally like a fleshy, sweet, sour thing. But like botanically, it includes a lot of things that are generally not fruits accepted because, yeah, it's anything that sort of grows from a plant and then is how they distribute seeds. Like,
oh, so pine cones are my favorite fruit.
Yeah, like my favorite fruit is corn. Like corn kernels are ways that corn spreads seeds, so corn kernels are a fruit. You know, that kind of thing. And then the difference between fruits and berries is something special too that I always forget. It's something about where the seeds actually are. Oh no, it's berries are fruit created from a single ovary, apparently.
This is more of plants than I knew before.
Well, if you've never seen me cast anything before, this is pretty typical. I just start talking about stuff that's totally irrelevant to what's going on, because I end up on tangents and start caring about the tangents more than anything else. I think the corn kernels are considered fruiting bodies because they're like a bit of a flowering plant that contains a seed, or is a seed for falling off and doing seed growing thing. Yeah, Blissful Fire did really well. Blissful Fire is a very good coach. And he is...
Yeah, looks like he's afraid of Nurgle, though. Which is fair.
I think it was an internet issue. Let's be fair. And it's
he was just saying in chat, see ya and enjoy my destruction. So I think he's a little afraid of the Nurgle.
Oh, perhaps. But, from five G-Man like 5 something, so relatively fresh team, if not a fresh team this season, whereas the Grungy Desserts have been around for a number of seasons.
I think they're just as old as my halflings are.
That would make sense.
Might be wrong on that, but I think it's just as old. And my halflings are old. They've been there since they could be there.
Division 7? Or Season 7, I mean?
Yeah.
Is the first season that we had Grungy Desserts. They were in 5C, and then they were in Div 7, and then they were in 3, and then 1, and then 1, and then 2A this season.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, because I know I played Grungy Desserts early, and I was Division 7 in Season 2. That all adds up.
As higher than the Grinder. Let's see.
Well, there's Division 5, so it should be their first season.
It is, yes. Last season in 11, it was Born to Be Wild was the team that he has played since Season 8 in G-Man. So this is a reroll season for Blissful Fire. There is not a specific playoff hype video this season. I've been using the generic one that Herringswood made a couple seasons ago, which I really like. It's a good video. But no, they didn't make a specific one this year. Lack of time and funds, I believe.
I mean, it's a good video for just, anytime use.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one for sure. And I did play it earlier. Oh, Grungy Desserts, they have a hype video from a couple seasons ago? Maybe.
I don't think so. I don't think they made it to playoffs since before Herringzord stopped making them.
I don't know. That's a good question, but it's not one that I'm going to answer now because they have started, and we can start watching this game.
There we go.
Yeah, Staticus made a big jump in playoff, and then he was in season or REL 1 for 2 seasons, and then finished. He didn't have the greatest season last season, and ended up dropping down one. He finished like mid-table somewhere, but REL 1 is pretty competitive to stay in. You basically got to make playoffs in some way, shape, or form to get there. So it's or be very close to it. Like I snuck into REL 1. On the back of somebody dropping out, basically, is the only reason I was there. But I did okay, so I was pretty pleased with it. Standard sort of rule of 5 setup for the elves. What did the elves take? Okay, so we've got a bribe.
They got a wizard. They got Morian. Wait, they take a bribe?
Yep. Bribe, extra Apo, wizard, and Moranian. So no Eldril. But he gets a pseudo bench by having a star player in Moranian. And 2 Appos, 2 Babes means that we can aggressive Apo, and the Babes are likely to bring any KOs back. Wizard is basically a touchdown at some point in the game. You can kind of trade that wizard for a touchdown as an elf team.
As an elf team, a wizard is mandatory.
Yeah, I mean, a wizard on an elf team is basically either a I for score for free card or a you score for free card, or you don't score for free card. Pretty useful.
Well, because I have my own reasoning, I personally want Staticus to win this game.
I'm going to do my best to be unbiased. I like Blissful Fire.
It's just because if Staticus wins this game and Foul Targets wins their game, then Staticus can play in the playoffs against someone we covered.
Oh, that's cool.
And then at that point, I'm rooting for the person we covered, so at least one of his recappers is rooting for him.
I did technically recap Staticus this season, which is why I wanted to grab this game. But I have played against Blissful Fire before. He's a good person. And I'll do my best to be unbiased. It's very hard to not cheer for Elf Death, though, being a Bash coach.
I just cheer for death. So yeah, the Nurgle are receiving. Whoa. Okay. Good thing they got kicked.
Quick snap. Oh, that's a short kick.
That is very short. I think they wanted that. I think they were hoping for a blitz.
Yeah, short kick generally not terrible. Although that's not where you want the short kick to go. And Staticus in a relatively good position to try and defend against a short kick blitz. I mean, you can't defend against it 100% against elves, but we've got a decent spread here. That means that the elves can't really run through for free. But yeah, short kick, you got what you wanted, elves, but it is exactly not where you wanted it, being directly behind the Beast of Nurgle.
Yeah, no, that is the worst kick for them, actually.
The worst short kick, anyway. Actually, a long kick probably would have been better than that kick for them.
Yeah, because then at least
you could run by.
Somebody would be in the back.
I was going to get all excited when it was a touchback and we gave it to the Beast, but unfortunately, no, it bounced right back to where it was. Here we go.
I don't think Staticus would have gave it to the Beast.
I don't think he would have either, but I wanted to see it.
Not in a playoff game.
Oh, he definitely wouldn't have, but it would have been funny, and that's what matters to me. Armor break number 1, just a stun. But the armor breaks begin. Here's the 3rd claw hit. 2nd stun. Could have been... Oh, wait, there's a piling on.
There we go.
I forgot about the piling on.
Nothing, though.
Still nothing. Well, that could have been way worse for the elves. 3 claw mighty blow hits survived. Yeah, all apple pies has had block for like 2 seasons, yeah, but he still doesn't accomplish anything. One thing, there is a rookie Pestigore on this team now. He used to be a really good ball hawk type player, you know, wrestle, tackle, frenzy, stuff like that. But he died, so now there's a rookie Pestigore there, which means we don't really have a pair for this ball carrier to recover with his big hand. It's gonna be, we can't necessarily sack very easily. Blitz from
like an undead elf team. Somebody said the best elves are dead elves, and now I kind of want like an undead elf team. I don't know what it have exactly.
There are two throwers on this team, by the way, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I guess it's just like a backup just in case.
Oh, that's really stupid. Good start. Good start. Stolen in the way. All of the different high elf models are different like lore characters. Like, you know, the different regiments of high elves and stuff. White lions are the catchers, I think, which is kind of weird. It feels very much like they just sort of took models that existed in the lore and were like, they can be catchers, sure, rather than really thinking about what they did. But, you know, it's okay.
I didn't actually know that with the... Because my knowledge of Warhammer starts from Blood Bowl.
White Lions, Phoenix Guard, stuff like that. Like, there's different, like, regiment, like, high elf sort of regiment things, and they have specific helmets, generally, which is what the helmets in Blood Bowl are from, or Blood Bowl 2.
Wolfbark, there actually is no Eldril in this game.
There is no Eldril, yeah. It's Prince Moranian. Sorry about the camera movement there. Yeah, that's not exactly how the Nurgle wanted that to start. They didn't get any removals, and they did get the ball, but it's not exactly as safe as you would like it to be. I mean, this Battered could just go in. Like, there's literally nothing stopping him from just leaping in there and getting a hit on the ball. You could make it a 1-die if you want, but I don't think you do it here. It's not a very good recovery situation, but
no.
You do have to be aware when you're playing against this team that, you know, he's Agi 5 leap. He can do that really basically whenever he wants. So you should be careful and pay attention to where that player is. He took a bribe, 2 babes, and an Apo over Eldril, correct?
The bribe actually, just looking back on that, just feels really weird. You could have got a 3rd reroll for that.
Yeah, I'm not...
And I think that would have worked for him a lot better than a bribe.
I think it's just to discourage the piling on, right? Like, any time that all apple pies piles on, he has to be thinking, like, well, my opponent is probably going to foul him because he has a bribe. So even if it's not a good foul, he could put the boot in. So it's like a deterrent, I think, more than like an active use tool. Just trying to make Staticus think about using that piling on.
I don't think that would have worked on me.
I mean, it probably wouldn't have worked on me either, but it depends on what Blissful Fire was thinking, but that's potentially an option there. Getting the... can we get the Beast in a good spot too? Because that's at least 1 Tentacles. So, yeah, if we blitz this guy out of the way, we should be able to slam... Oh, is the Beast... No, the Beast isn't movement busted. It's the Angry Churro is.
Ooh, there we go. Seeing how he followed, it looks like he was going to go for a piling on there too, if he needed it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was just thinking of an option of why Blissful Fire would have taken a bribe. I didn't say that it was going to work on Staticus. Just...
He might not even realize he actually has a bribe.
It's very true. I was thinking, so now you could get this, you could get the Beast in here on Moranian, which isn't super great because he's strength 4, but you could get the Beast tying up a couple elves here, and then we can start moving up this side of the pitch as potentially an option, and really what we want to do is just try to control the elves, and by control I actually mean control, I don't mean meme control, which is by putting them in the injury box. I mean, we do want to do that as well, but that's probably not...
That's the easiest way to control.
It's very true. But the Tentacles is also pretty useful, especially against this Agi piece.
Yeah, I think Blissful Fire might have gone a little overcommitted to that one side.
Potentially. He is high elf, so they're fast enough to... the catchers are fast enough to come back around.
They are fast enough to catch up, but it's going to be spending almost a whole turn to get into position.
Yeah, Staticus does get a chance to move a bit forward here, which is always good for Nurgle against elves. If the elves are just doing the standard elf screen thing, any extra few squares of movement beyond the normal blitz move the cage up one is something pretty useful to take. Not going with the full cage. Basically, it looks like we're sort of defending against both fireball and leap sort of things here. He's
I do like that positioning for the beast there, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of right at the start of the turn. It's pretty much a free 1-die to like leap the Agi guy in there now because you don't have to take away any assists. But it's a 1-die on Blodge, and the Agi 5 leap guy is also just on the beast, so he's going to roll tentacles first anyway. So this is mostly an anti-fireball thing, I think. Which seems weird. I always play like my opponent just doesn't have a wizard.
Yeah, I just forget they have a wizard until I see the fireball come down.
It's generally what I do. Well, I just find that one of the most advantageous bits of having a wizard is your opponent's fear of you using the wizard, and they position differently based on the fact that you have a wizard. Which depends on the matchup, certainly. But that's something that is like a wizard aspect. But, you know, most of the time I'll cage, and then people are like, hey, look, a cage, and they'll fireball it, and they'll get like one corner down. I'm like, great, the wizard's gone. Dauntless failing, making that only a 1-die, but we do get to, we do find the knockdown. Are you going to stomp on the beast? We could get a really good foul on him here if we wanted to. Well, not really good. We could get an okay foul on him if we wanted to. And we have a bribe. I don't think it's the biggest threat to the high elves to be worth the foul there.
My problem with fouling on these Nurgle is regen always works when I foul them.
Just blitzing this back claw piece. I'm not doing much to get in the way of the score here currently, but the Nurgle are slow. They're not really in range. Ah, scoring threat.
Actually, that hit almost tells me that, yes, he is going to foul.
Yeah, we took away one of the assists there. Or one of the anti-assists, I should say. Getting 2 high elves in the way, and then I'd be very surprised if we don't stomp on that beast.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I would.
Not anymore.
Be the player I foul with.
Not anymore. Oh, failed dodge. Spending one of our precious 2 rerolls on this.
Yeah, I definitely would have preferred the reroll over the bribe, because this is overtime format.
That is true. I think he just wants to make sure he has that Agi 5 leap as a recovery option, to then huck it down the field to that scoring threat catcher, especially since the Nurgle can't score this turn. The elves don't really need to get in the way because the Nurgle cannot physically score this turn, and we still have a wizard and the leap guy available if they decide to potato forward too much here. And if they just go forward, they're only gonna have like 2 players really to defend their ball with, because everybody else is stuck or slow. Oh, there's a KO. Yeah, exactly,
Casual
Luke.
KO.
It depends on what Staticus is gonna do to protect the ball here, but like a wizard next turn into stealing it with the Agi 5 and then hurling it downfield to that catcher is like a very, very likely situation next turn for Blissful Fire, depending on what Staticus does here. So he should be pretty aware of that, or try to be aware of that. Sidestep is going to be annoying here, actually, on this catcher. He is niggled, though, so he's pretty a pretty tempting target. And here comes all apple pies.
I'd be greedy enough to re-roll that.
Ooh, he's blodged.
I think he's thinking it too.
Oh, yeah, and he takes it. Nope. Good job, all apple pies. Disappointing us for another year.
I think what he was most afraid of is just the sidestep, actually.
Yeah, exactly. The sidestep is super annoying getting in front here. There is a lot of disturbing presence, but it's all right here because all of the Nurgle warriors and the beast are in the center. So if you can get to this side, there's none. From back here, there's none. And it's a strong arm thrower. I mean, he's pretty good at throwing it long distances.
Actually, yeah. I think Southkiss might mess up his math because he didn't need to bring that Pesticor up next to it.
I think that's interesting. I don't know what mistake you make there, because if you think he's strength 2, you also don't need it because you only need to be 5. So I don't know what the moving the Pestigore there was for. Right, like I can understand that if you don't play high elves very often, being like, it's a catcher, it's strength 2, and then just blitzing with the Pestigore because you would be 5 then, and that's a 3-die. But we moved up 1 Pestigore for no particular reason. Yeah, so we're not taking the move forward option this turn. Electing to sort of solidify in the center with both the disturbing presence and the Nurgle warriors trying to protect that ball to try to counter against a sort of wizard and leap play here.
Yeah, he's in right now. That ball's in every single disturbing presence.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much for like the pickup or anything, but if he tries to like wizard and leap in there, another push. Baked doing some work. Blodge step, very annoying.
Unless you're strength 2 and then they somehow get a power every time still.
This big pause here has me wondering if he's debating the wizard use. Could bolt down either the ball and leap in, or we could bolt down one of the cage corners. Although 3 of them here are guards, so any blocks from any of these squares aren't really great. So it'd have to be this corner.
I don't think bolting the ball carrier right now is a good choice at all.
And I think Blissfire agrees with you, because he has decided to start moving his players around. Bolting the ball wouldn't have been terrible, but I don't think it's good yet.
I don't think it's good because wherever it lands, it's basically into tackle zones.
Yeah. These 2 squares are both 1 tackle zone, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. It's in tackle zones no matter where you go. And the Agi 5 can technically get to it, but it's going to be a bunch of dodges or a leap. And if it goes down here, it's in a tackle zone, and he's not going to have very much movement to throw afterwards, or get out of the stink and then throw. It's not about the pickup, it's about dodging through and then throwing out of the stink, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in this area. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, so assume the ball scattered down here. He has to use all his movement to get to this spot to pick up the ball. And then he's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stink and just can't throw the ball anywhere. So it's just a lot of dice. It's -5 to the pass, which is, a lot of negatives.
Morin is just working over that beast.
Oh, Dauntless. Dauntless and Strength 4 means it's a 2+ to get a 1-die, and then a 2-die if you have 1 assist. And,
not using the stand firm there.
Nope. I wonder why. Were we worried about a foul? I don't think so.
I think that was his last player too. So
just back in. Would he rather be 1 square to the north?
That's what happened there. He wanted to reposition.
That's fair. Morani has block and wrestle, which is kind of funny. You don't see that very often.
That is weird. He's also got tackle, and he's one of the few star players that actually have tackle.
Well, that's true. All his general skills. He's a very general elf. Look at him. 1, 2, 3, 4 general skills. Here comes all apple pies. Nothing. Piles on. Nothing.
Nothing.
Good job, all apple pies. You continue to disappoint us. Yeah, it's something that you wouldn't really want to take as you're leveling a player, because you're you don't want to waste one of your skill slots, basically, as it were, on a skill that doesn't have as much value as something else. Like in almost any player where you already have block or wrestle and you level, you want something else before you would want the other one. But just having them both gives you some interesting options, but it's not one of those things you'd probably ever take, just because you only have so many skills you can get in a player, you know?
I don't think this ball is very safe at all now.
Not yet. That's a bit better.
I know. It's because he's basing up one of the cage corners, and I don't like doing that, even if you have the strength advantage.
It's strength 5 and strength 4 guard. It's not easy for him to. He'd have to, like, I think the only way he could really get a 2-die on the block Nurgle Warrior is by by coming in from the back over here, and if you're gonna do that, you might as well just hit the ball. So I think it's I'm not worried about either of these Nurgle Warriors getting blocked too hard this turn.
Oh, the Nurgle Warrior definitely takes block before Tentacles if it has strength 5.
Nurgle Warrior strength is a first skill. Tent or block next. I would take block, yeah.
Definitely block first.
If my Nurgle Warrior already had block and rolled strength, his next level immediately would be Tentacles, sort of, yes, regardless of what he had. But I think it's, you want,
you want the block. Block helps you level up faster because you can take more hits.
Yeah, and people will red dice you if you don't have block pretty consistently. It's like, who cares if you're strength 5? You might as well just be strength 4. It's still just a 2 dice uphill, and I have block, you don't. Some of the time I knock you over, and then I freed up a bunch of players off your Tentacles. One of the most annoying things I've had in a long time was a Blodge Firm Beast of Nurgle. But he was niggled.
That's disgusting.
He was niggled, and then one time he got knocked over and died.
Was that last season?
Yeah, well, it was this season. He died this season. Yeah. He died about halfway through this season. But it was that beast, the plus movement one. Yeah, he ended up with Blodge Firm, but died this season, sadly. I mean, yeah, okay, so like any skill or any level up, it's always contextual comparatively to what the rest of your team has, and what matches you've got coming up. It's always contextual. There's never a super hard and fast rule, technically, but in general, when we answer these sort of what would you take next type questions, it's impossible to be well, tell me every little detail about your team first. So roughly, I'd want to take Tentacles next. But yeah, it's true. If you don't have any guard, you might consider guard first, or if you have a Pestigore that leveled up and you're going up against elves with a bunch of dodge and you have no tackle, you probably want to take tackle, even though you might want to take something else first.
To be fair, even though your already has tentacles, more tentacles isn't bad.
More That's tentacles, more better. If the internet has taught me anything,
cover up.
Exactly. And sometimes, yeah, you can get more. A lot of the times, you'll end up with 2 players on a Beast of Nurgle or whatever. So if you have 2 players with tentacles that can both lock up 2 players, you're trading 2 players not doing anything for 4 of their players not doing anything, and that's a player advantage right there. But if the internet has taught me anything, more tentacles is more better. All right. Once again, well, I think we're just
really
debating.
Planned out what to do there. That was a long plan.
I think once again we had wizard things, but also remember that Blissful Fires.
Well, he already moved a player.
Oh yeah, Blissful Fire's internet is also apparently on the fritz a little bit, which is why he
that would make
was
sense
late.
Yeah.
So there might be a little bit of lag or timing issues there.
Okay, just casual brick tentacles.
Nothing wrong with being more degenerate incesticide. Oh, that's a skull. Oh man, Do you use your 1 reroll on this? We do. So the elves are down rerolls now, so we're not going to have any rerolls for the upcoming critical like lightning bolt, grab ball, throw away turn that we are expecting to occur at some point in the next 4 turns. We're not going to have a reroll for that, which could suddenly make it a lot more difficult to pull off. Yeah, Lascaris, I think I agree with you. The fact that we don't have a reroll here, I think, is going to be what is going to really hurt the sack attempt. Yeah, so there is the option of keeping the wizard for half 2 now. Certainly, I think it depends on what happens. We'll have to see. If you can trade the wizard for a touchdown on your opponent's half, worth it. But at this point, it's going to be difficult for it to be very likely for that to occur because we don't have any rerolls. Trading the wizard for your opponent not scoring, less good. But okay.
I'd say in this format, it's not worth it to just prevent you from scoring with the wizard.
No, less good. Certainly.
It is better than nothing, but I'd rather save it.
I think I would too. Yeah, because you have that so there's 2 arguments there, I guess. On the one hand, it's easier to defend when you have more elves, and the longer that this game goes on, the less likely you are to have more elves because you're playing against Nurgle. So there's that, but there's also the you might not have to use the wizard if you save it for the second half.
And then you can use it maybe in the second half for a score after you score quickly, or...
Yeah, you can turn over and score after you score quickly, or maybe you can use it if you go to overtime. You have more options available to you later in the game, basically, to use it for, but it's also harder to, defend later in the game because you're likely to have less elves. I think 1-1 at halftime while keeping the wizard is the perfect situation, but the way this is going right now makes me feel that it's likely to end up 1-0 Stouticus at halftime. Like, the Nurgle have made it pretty good forward progression so far, and they have a lot of their team with them, and a lot of the elves are tied up, and there aren't any rerolls left. So there's going to be at least 1 turn over the next 4 turns where the high elves try to do something and then fail, and then turn over when they don't want to. So I think it's going to be difficult for them to make the Nurgle score with enough time left for the high elves.
I agree, it says to side. I think you need to, instead of getting the bribe, get a reroll.
One of the very few times that I think I would recommend a reroll. But most of the time, teams have 3. And they... the problem is, Blissful Fire had no money. He literally had 0 gold going into this. So it's not like buying a reroll was an option. And it's a 1-season-old team. So if he was prioritizing buying catchers over buying rerolls, it's certainly possible. He very likely just started with 2 rerolls and never had enough money to buy another one. It is 1 season high elves, so it's... The second thrower might be for a fast leader. That's very true, and he just doesn't have it yet because it's 1 season.
It looks like he was hoping for an MVP to land on him.
There's the wizard used. Well, see, that's why fireballs are bad.
I don't think that's I don't think I'd use a fireball like that.
That was 1, 2, 3, 4-player fireball, and you needed to get 2 knockdowns to make it worth it, which is basically when it's a 50% on each, it's a 25% of getting what you wanted out of that, which is not particularly great. Any combination of 2 players there, I think, would have been good, or good enough. If it was the front 2 guys, can get in here. If it's these 2 guys, can get in here. If it's this guy and any one of these players, we can get in, and we've knocked over the ball. But just 1 doesn't do anything. Tentacles. Oh, I'm wasting the blitz.
That's the blitz.
And no rerolls now. So Like I said, we're
Ooh,
expecting a
this
turn
turn's
coming up.
downhill.
Yep, I did say last turn that we're expecting a turn coming up where the elves are just going to fail a thing and then they can't deal with it because they don't have any rerolls. And there you go.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, instead of fireballing, I don't think it would have been too bad to lightning bolt the ball carrier now.
Well, it wouldn't be terrible, but we don't have any way of really recovering it if the ball scatters. Like if the ball scatters here, you're not recovering, and if it scatters back, you don't have anyone to reach it.
It would have been relying on a bunch of 2+s. I think that would have been a better choice than the fireball there.
Yeah, no, I think you hold on to the wizard. I would have held on to the wizard and then maybe just tried to move some players. Like the real goal for the High Elves this turn, I think, was to make the Nurgle feel like they had to score next turn, so that the High Elves still had 3 turns to counter score and end the half 1/1. But right now, because of what they just did, I don't think the Nurgle feel very pressured at all. They can get tentacles in good places. They can even, oh man, if Stouticus doesn't blitz battered this turn with all apple pies, I don't know what he's doing. We can even make it a 3-die if you really want to, but you probably don't need to, considering he doesn't have dodge. Oh, we're gonna make it a 3-die. Okay.
All apple pies, 3-die. Get 3 skulls this time.
6 skulls. Hexa skulls. Yeah, and with the wizard gone, suddenly Stouticus is like, cool, well, I don't need to protect my ball as much, because you can't just lightning bolt it down. Well, triple both downs is a thing, considering he has wrestle. There you go.
Good old apple pies, all apple pies.
If this high elf goes out and the appo doesn't work, that's pretty much game, I think. Oh, it's a KO.
Ooh,
just pile that on. Your opponent has double bribe or double babes.
There we go. Yeah,
perfect.
Babe. Well, at least it wasn't stun.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Your opponent has double babes. Like a KO isn't particularly useful. I think I think piling on there is the right choice and just aim for a removal, because that player is so important to the high elf game plan, I think. Well, yeah, now the High Elves don't really have a good way of getting in here, especially with that leap guy gone. So this suddenly went very poorly. The High Elf goal here, I think, was,
that last turn, everything went wrong for the High Elves.
Yeah.
Everything they tried to do was the one.
A counter score and end the half 1/1 is pretty much their aim, I think. And, they're not going to have enough time to do that unless they can one turn, which, I mean, is theoretically possible. High Elves are pretty fast, but it's not exactly easy versus Nurgle with all the stink lying around.
Just kind of thinking...
Tentacles.
Tentacles? Did he waste the blitz on that guy again?
Yes.
I think he's relying on that guy a little too much.
Yeah. As elves, Darkest, I think I agree with you. For the most part, if you have a wizard as a bash team, generally, a pretty good use of it is just to stop them from scoring, because then you can.
We're fouling.
You can generally win games 1-0 that way.
We're fouling with a catcher.
Well, we have a bribe. And all apple pies did pile on. No result, really, but no send-off.
It just means all apple pies can't disappoint us in their turn.
Yeah, he can't disappoint us again. At least not until turn 8.
I feel Stouticus knows the importance of this game, and... Well, if he still has a reroll, I guess he would make a 3-die.
Yeah, for sure. But elves have the option generally to, like, they actually have the agi and the movement to be able to, like, lightning bolt the ball down, steal it, and score with it, and that's like the ideal use for elves. But if you save it for the second half, which we could have done, you could be in that situation where you could prevent a second score, or as a bash team, certainly using it to prevent a score, I think, is a good option, because you're not likely going to be able to get the steal and score off of it, because you're not agi or movement. So it's as with Blood Bowl, everything in Blood Bowl, it's probably contextual, because Blood Bowl is Blood Bowl, and there's never a hard and fast rule for anything really, other than like, you know, you should probably block with the guy with block instead of the guy without block. There's some pals.
I mean, yeah, I'd say like number 1 block's a good skill.
Generally. Although there's certainly times when you don't do that. Like often Nurgle and Chaos teams will just grab Mighty Blow first on like a warrior because it helps them level faster. And Nurgle teams at 1000 TV are pretty garbage
then you end
anyway.
Up with all apple pies.
It's very true. But I've done that and it works. Turns out Nurgle teams are pretty bad at 1000 TV anyway, so you might as well take the risk and grab the Mighty Blow and see if you can accelerate the development and hope you get lucky, because it's going to be pretty hard to win at 1000 TV anyway. But, you know, like I said, everything is contextual. Blood Bowl is Blood Bowl. I like how we have this dirty player Rotter over here who's just been here. Like, Nugget Man has just been on this side of the pitch for the last 7 turns and has literally never done anything.
He's the mascot for the team.
Just hanging out, you know. I like how his name is Nugget Man. I like that name. That's good. Nugget. Okay, I've picked my new favorite player this game. I'm cheering for Nugget Man. I don't really care what else happens. Oh, that's a failed GFI. Oh. 16664. Failed to GFI and MNGs himself.
He's okay though.
Yeah, he got better, but still, that's really funny.
The one removal the elves get.
There you go. Have a removal. Well, so you're probably not stopping the score here as Blissful Fire. I guess it depends on how aggressive you feel. There's the option to keep your elves in positions where if Stouticus, if you're gonna sack, you have to do it now. So we'll either see if he decides to attempt a sack or if he just runs away, to try to keep players available for the next half. Because Stouticus probably isn't going to risk doing things other than scoring, depending on how greedy of a player he is. So you could just run away and probably be pretty safe, get a couple easy blocks. It looks like that's what we're going to do, rather than attempt to do some crazy sack play. We've knocked down the Nurgle Warrior, or the Beast, so we can finally blitz away with that Frenzy guy if you want to. Tentacles isn't there anymore. But he's going to 1 in 36 to dodge if he tries. Just going to call it now. Oh no, well, it's 1 in 6 because that guy's tackle. We could also just block somebody. I mean, your most likely removal is probably the Rotter, if you wanted to like blitz with somebody, but removing players from the Nurgle isn't going to accomplish a whole lot here because they have a huge bench.
They got, good bench of Rotters.
So just grabbing a removal isn't going to accomplish much. There it is. Was he aiming for the ball? I think he was going for it. Well,
I think he was.
Rolled a 1 on that last dodge, unfortunately. But he was going for the ball.
2 then a 1.
Yes. Oh, that was a 3+ dodge, yeah. Well, all apple pies.
And then for this, your pylon button is
taped down?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you get like an injury, there's no point in piling that on.
Well, I mean, if you get an injury, you don't get the choice of pile on.
Well, that's true, I guess. Well, we find a KO. With 4 KOs, it's not unreasonable to ask for one of them to stay off, even though there are 2 babes. You know, rolling a 1 when you're rolling 4 dice isn't exactly... it's not average. It's slightly below average, but it's not, you know, out of the realm of possibility by any stretch.
I mean, if we're talking about possibility, I mean, they could all roll 1s.
I mean, it could, but that's very unlikely. So that means that we're probably like, if one of them stays out, we go into the next half with the elves down a player because they had a bench of 1 due to the star player, but they're all back.
Yeah, I think Stouticus knew.
Oh, there are 2 KO roll attempts because we do get to do turn 8 here, so That's very true. 8 dice.
To me, it looks like Staticus is trying to prevent the 1 turn from happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible to 1 turn. You know, movement 8 is a thing. Agi 5 leap is a thing. It's just difficult versus Nurgle because they do this. And then you're like, cool. Try to pass it to the guy that needs to score in 4 stink. Enjoy.
Actually, I think the team that's hardest to get a 1-turn touchdown against is Halflings.
Well, yeah, 2 stand firm trees.
3 stand firm trees if you're playing it right.
And you get deep root, yeah. Well, I mean, 3 stand firm makes it pretty much impossible unless they have Juggernaut. And if there are 3 trees with it, then it's strength 6, 6, and 7, which is kind of difficult to push around. Yes.
I guess for most people it's 6, 6, 7.
Oh, yeah. For you, it's not. And Nurgle is pretty difficult against too if the Nurgle set up correctly. Partially because there's likely to be some strength and stand firm lying around, and also because stink makes the pass portion of it potentially difficult depending on where it goes to. I mean, I think you would have rathered one of the loners be the Kaz, but, you know, that's fair, I guess.
And I guess also Tentacles is nice to have on there just in case they actually get the pushes, but they're still next to the ball for some reason.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Kiandri is along. Speaking of halflings, you know, another stunty team are goblins. Very good goblin coach there. Which feels like an oxymoron, but it's not. I promise you.
No, I've seen some goblins do really well before. Not my goblins, but, you know, some.
Well, especially in the right hands.
Yeah, yeah, so there's a tabletop tournament around here.
And they're the one to ask.
There's a tabletop tournament around here, and a goblin team's gone, like, 2nd place a couple of times.
Goblins are fun, man. Like, if
goblins are fun. Last year in the tournaments, I was doing 5 secret weapon goblins. I didn't do well because my players did not stay on the field at all.
If I ever reroll my Nurgle team, which every season I say that I'm going to, and then I never do, so you know it's probably not going to happen anytime soon unless I literally run out of players. I will do a goblin season because I think it would be entertaining.
Yeah, I kind of set some rules for me re-rolling this season, and because I was playing halflings for so long, I decided no stunties for this one.
Oh, so what's the season?
It's Bretonians.
Right, yeah, you said that earlier.
Yeah.
Oh man, Sean, man, I don't know. That's very true, but see, my attitude is if I stop caring about games and winning games, I won't get annoyed by them, and I won't care about winning if I'm playing goblins, really. So all 13 games or all 12 games will be very fun for me because I won't expect to win. When I get annoyed is when I expect to win because I think I should, and then I don't.
One thing I just kind of wish goblins got was like passing access on the bombardier.
Oh, why would you play Greenhorn as goblins? Just you want to go in low TV. Just don't play Greenhorn.
No. That's the big brain there. You completely mess up your Greenhorn, like
and then go in like 500 TV.
then everyone else is way higher and you're way lower.
That's true, yeah. Big brain plays for Mr. Christie. You make good cookies.
Thanks. Well, there's that reroll I always wanted.
Up to 1 now. Well, that's a good start.
Oh, I thought this was the second half for some reason.
No, this is the 1-turn attempt. Well, we tried to reroll, we succeeded the loner, and then we rolled another 1 on the foul appearance.
That always feels the worst, where you roll the 1, and then you get the loner, but then you roll a 1 again.
Yep.
Like, it's not even proper
Oh my god. I had to mute myself there because I was coughing after laughing. As Nurgle, the foul appearance just feels so good because you're just like, haha, either you don't get to block him or you have to spend a reroll. But it just feels nice that you're just like wasting their resources. And then when they reroll and it's still a 1, oh man, like I'm gonna need new pants. But that's really unfortunate for Blissful Fire. One turn probably off the
I think
table.
like the biggest thing everyone wants for goblins is for just the trolls to not have loner.
Yeah, I mean, ogres get not loner. Why can't trolls have it?
And the tree men on halflings don't have loner.
Yeah, exactly. I forget that a lot. I'm playing Alliance of Goodness a lot in Imperium right now, and I have one wood elf tree and one halfling tree, and I always have to like check myself, like which one is this? Am I allowed to reroll this? Or, like make sure that I put the halfling next to the halfling tree because I can actually reroll that part of it.
It's funny, some things people just don't realize about halfling trees.
There's the big foul. Not really.
Just for a stun, though.
No, didn't have to use the bribe. Let's see if we can get the thrower to grab another SPP on his way to leader, I would imagine. Makes the pickup. And the vanity pass. Done. Yeah, catchers are white lions. Look at their like lion paw glove. It's kind of awkward. Yeah, mine Nurgle die. Well, there's half one. It ends 1-0 for the Nurgle. The wizard is gone. So this is about as good as it probably could have ended up for the Nurgle, other than a boatload more injuries. But, you know, you can't have everything. Wizard gone. Did we use one of the Appos? I don't remember.
No, we didn't.
Okay, so not as many resources depleted as we would have liked for the Nurgle, but at least some. Why is my screen black? There we go.
I don't know. Mine is black as well.
Just hit escape.
I think if the casualty on the kick was actually just a badly hurt, I think you might have appoed that.
No, he's got two. He's got two. Oh yeah, maybe because he's got two appos.
He's got the two appos and he wants just
it's an MNG.
Appoing. But it's an MNG, so he didn't want to waste the appo.
And he still has a full team. We'll likely see an appo used on like a perm on one of his good players, to try to keep him alive for next season. Or
at this point now, yeah. Last half I would definitely use on any badly hurt.
Yeah. Or a critical thing, you know, if you get in a lucky position and you have a chance to steal and score kind of thing, but one of your guys that you need to do it gets KO'd or stunned, or gets KO'd, I mean, you can keep him on the field. You can be very aggressive that way because you do have two. So there's an option, but that's one of those things that you have to be in the right position to be able to use. Disturbing Presence is very annoying if people use it correctly. That's very true. When I played in the Rookie League forever ago, I was, playing Nurgle in the Rookie League like some sort of crazy person.
But you didn't know at the time you were a rookie.
That's true. But the number of other rookies who like didn't pay attention to Disturbing Presence was pretty astounding. Because it's one of those like extra things that only shows up when you play against Nurgle, so it's hard to remember if you've never played them before.
Yeah, it's like Diving Tackle.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I still forget about Diving Tackle, especially on Kislev, because I don't play them very often, and I just forget that the Blitzers have it.
I remember one time I actually forgot about Diving Tackle, and then they didn't activate the Diving Tackle when it could have.
Oh.
They thought I was trying to bait out the Diving Tackle, but I just forgot about it.
Big brain plays.
The biggest brain plays is when you don't use your brain.
Very true. In my experience, yes, you just ignore Diving Tackle and then it doesn't work. Ask Shadora about that.
You're going to roll a 1 anyways if it wasn't Diving Tackle.
Rule of 5 from the Nurgle here, which is interesting. No, I think this is fine. Because on the one, like, you could spread out the Nurgle to try to prevent the elf run by.
I think he's fine because he has that movement 8.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, the movement 8 can get pretty much anywhere on the field if they do run by and try for an early score. What you don't want as the Nurgle here is them to run by, getting scoring position, and then stall for 6 turns. As long as you can prevent that, You don't particularly care if they score early, because then you get, 6 turns to keep beating up elves and make it 2-1. So I think it's fine. You just have to either try to force an early score or a turnover, and then you're happy.
Well, the High Elves got that reroll I thought they should have started with.
Perfect. Big brain, again. Don't need to induce a reroll if you get one on the kickoff. If only that happened first half. I think it would have made a much bigger difference for the elves. Yeah, OT is probably the more probable result if the elves do get to stall for a long time, and the elves don't mind that, because if they go to overtime, elves are pretty good at scoring in like 2 turns, and then just then they
that's
just
what
win the
really
game.
wins overtime a lot.
Mm-hmm. So like if the elves can make this go to overtime, as long as they still have players left, and then they get lucky and win the coin toss, they have a good chance of just winning. Which is a way that an option the elves have for trying to win this game.
I actually really like this movement 8 Pestigore. I think +2 movement on almost any piece is really good.
Any movement that increases the movement of your fastest players is generally good, I think. Once again, contextually, I don't know if you would take like plus movement on like a bull centaur.
On a bull when it gets up to movement 8, it's very scary still.
That's true. But
it's the +2 that makes it really good though, not +1.
I think the
I had a halfling with 7 movement, and it's scary for 1 turns if it can make landings.
Well, movement is actually surprisingly good there, because if you like the scatter from the throw, right? Like just you have one more option.
At that point, I had to get 3 bad scatter rolls for it to be impossible to score.
The hardest part about throwing teammate touchdowns is them actually landing in range, or getting the ball to the halfling in the first place.
Oh, so often I've had it so they land 1 square away from actually it being possible.
Me too.
And it's the most obnoxious.
Donut in a Hole really wants to grab like Stand Firm, I think, but that's a legend skill. He's a ways away. But Frenzy, double plus movement, Juggernaut, like he's a surfing machine, but very vulnerable to counter surfs afterwards currently, so he probably wants to grab Stand Firm as his legend level. You want me to zoom in or out? Looks like we're setting up for, this is what I was talking about, run bys.
Yeah, just a fast score.
Yep, attempting to run by and get in position for a quick score. The Nurgle can do a lot about it, though. We'll blitz one of them. We'll throw some tentacles on some other ones.
Well, that block catcher over there, I think he's getting surfed.
Very possible. And that's just what the Nurgle want to do, I guess, is they're okay with the elves quick scoring on like turn 2, because then they probably win the game. But what they don't want is the elves scoring on like turn 12 or 13. It's harder.
More turns the elves stall, the less chance the Nurgle have.
Yeah, exactly. So the Nurgle aren't
to prevent overtime, and that's what at this point you want to prevent that.
Yeah, the Nurgle want to win this game 1-0 or 2-0, potentially 2-1. The High Elves kind of want to make it 1-1 and then go to overtime and win the coin toss, I think, is the one of the better ways to have of doing this. Unless they get incredibly lucky over the next few turns and just start like removing Nurgle left and right. So we'll see what Stauticus is thinking here. I think the Blitz is going to tell us a lot about this.
I say you surf that catcher. That is my choice. I think that's the best choice right now.
I think that's probably worth it too.
Nope. Oh, nope. We're going all apple pies on something. On the loner.
I mean, 3-0 or 4-0 are fine.
Well,
That's pretty
okay,
unlikely.
all apple pies remove something at least permanently.
Well, he's dead. Hey, that's a rotter.
Yeah. Oh, that is a rotter, yeah.
Not until after the game, though, but it's a rotter. And then we'll slap tentacles on him.
That was Stouticus's plan there, was to get a new rotter.
That's all he wanted, was a new rotter.
Yeah, you don't get from the surf.
Well, now he can fire his movement 4 rotter, or his Ag 2 rotter, and, you know, he's got a replacement.
Or just keep them all. Throw them on the line.
I mean, yeah. It depends on if you're playing against, like, another Nurgle team, sure. I was going to say we probably slap the tentacles on these 2 players over here, but it turns out there's only 1 now, because one of them is dead. Yeah, so we're putting a little bit of pressure on the potential scoring threats, and then we're leaving our Yellow-Led Brownie back as a safety, along with Donut in the hole. We're not going up to put pressure on the ball at all. And the Nurgle are going to be like, hey, either score quick, or get in a position where you can't score, and I will continue to all apple pies your team to death. So score quickly or die is the Nurgle play here, I feel. And the elves are going to want to try to balance that. They want to make sure they can score to send themselves to overtime. They also want to eat up as many turns as possible while not losing too many players. It's a difficult question for the elves here.
Well, that pass score moved pretty far back.
That is very true.
I don't think you need to go that far back.
Maybe not. For those of you that are into REBBL playoffs, this is the opening game of today, depending on what time zone you're in. But there are like 8 other games today. In about
There's a lot of games.
Yeah, in an hour and a half, there's Foul Targets versus Going Laham.
I don't like that at all. We used a reroll on a foul appearance there.
Well, now he's just down to 2, which is what he's used to. It's fine. And we got a stun out of it, which means the elves can actually put a lot of pressure on this left side of the pitch here. And the Nurgle are going to have a difficult time covering all of the scoring threats. And even the elves can even probably get a player relatively safe over there. So that stalling is a bit of an option. Where was I? There's a bunch of playoff games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 9 more today after this one. So if you like playoffs, today's a good day for you. Aromacin, Doof, Metal, Herringzord, T-Self, Hiroto Sukara, all casting games. And there's a few that are still even unclaimed, actually. So a lot of games to check out today if you are interested in Blood Bowl playoffs. Chapsu's playing today. There you go. What are you playing? Okay, I don't know what time that is. There's too many games. I don't remember all the team games. Is it the one? Is it 1 EST?
Tommy Tutal? Oh, that guy messed up my halflings this season.
I cast him, or I recapped him in his Nurgle last season, I believe. 1 AST, yeah. So that's going to be on Doof's channel if people are interested in checking out Chabsu's game later at 1 p.m. EST, which is 6 p.m. UTC.
Yeah, Tommy Tutal. Ooh, they beat my halflings 5-0.
Oh dear.
It was a lot. I was getting some unlucky. I couldn't like pick up the ball and stuff.
Tentacles. Squish.
Let's see if I'm that thrower there. I'm a little worried.
I'm in danger. Can we do anything with the ball? No, we cannot.
I think.
I mean, we can. So it turns out yellow lead brownie is agi and 2 heads, so we can just dodge in here and 2-die the ball if we really want to. And he is just wrestle, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary because he's gonna get rocked next turn, and he's a valuable player. But if Stouticus wants to, pretty much at any time, he can just run yellow lead brownie in there with a couple of 2+. He is agi 5 on dodges. Oh, throw's okay.
If he's willing to do a 1-die, we can just dive that ball.
Yep.
It's only 2 dodges.
2+. So 2+. And then if we add 2 more 2+, we can 2-die it, because you can GFI and come from the side. But you have to do 2 GFIs to do that. So you can 2+, 2+, 2+, 2+, 2-die.
You know what? For me, it depends on how the dodges go.
Yeah.
You could get there with a 3+ dodge, and if you have dodge, you can skip the GFI.
That's true. Unfortunately, we had to knock him over with the dirty player, so the dirty player is not going to do dirty things. We haven't blitzed yet.
That's because we're moving the beast now. We want that beast moving.
We absolutely do. It's just unfortunate that we don't get to stomp on him. Beast can single GFI to be on 3 elves, but that's really scary. And who are we blitzing, and who with, is the question. The fact that the blitz is still available has me wondering if he's going to go in with yellow lead brownie or not.
Oh, no, we got someone else.
All right, going on the loner with Donut in a hole. No result out of it.
He just might not have seen the dodge in there. He is a Nurgle coach.
It's also, I mean, yeah, to be fair, I often forget about that. I'm like, I have a 2-heads guy. Oh, wait, I could just dodge in there if I want to. But no, it's also just risky, and there's no recovery play. And he's pretty surfable the turn afterwards. Like, it's a very risky play that I don't think you need to make. But there was an option. So we're moving everything first, and now I think we roll the GFI with the beast to put him in a really good spot. You just do that last so that if he fails, you know, you're not screwed. Yeah, exactly. Right in there, like I suggested. Zoop. 3 elves locked up on a beast now. And this guy is super stuck because he can't dodge out anywhere. And this guy is going to have to dodge out backwards to go any places. Nurgle putting a lot of pressure on the elves here.
This is a good example of control Nurgle without the killing.
Well, I mean, there's been some killing, but probably less than against.
There's only been one this half, but he's got like complete control of the pitch right now.
For the most part, I mean, the elves can go through. Like, if the elves want to score, they can.
Well, not with that. Oh no, he can with wrestle.
Yep, he has wrestle. So
I think he forgot he has wrestle.
Did he just forget he has wrestle? I mean, the elves, they're a 2+ away from scoring if they want to. But that's the thing, right? Nurgle just wanted to force the elves into a position where they felt like they had to score. Otherwise, because now the Nurgle still have 5 turns to score, 6 turns to score if the elves score here. So this is pretty good for the Nurgle.
To be fair, I forgot he had wrestle. On that.
If you wanted to stall, I mean, I guess you aim for the knockdown there, and if you get the knockdown, you can stall. I don't know if that's worth like gambling a reroll on when you only have 2.
No, not with the loner player. I honestly think he just forgot he had wrestle.
Unless he was playing very risky, which, you know, you might, considering, you know...
That's incredibly risky when you're playing for overtime right now.
Well, that's true, but, like, on the one hand, or on the argument, I guess, is that, like, you're probably not going to win unless you do some risky things and get lucky with them, so you try them. And, you know, it's a mark of a really good coach sometimes is knowing when the risky play is the best thing to do, giving you the best chance of winning if it works, rather than always doing the safe thing. So there's sometimes it's worth it to try to be risky because you need to be a little bit lucky to win when you in doing the risky things. But I don't know if we're in that position yet. So yeah, most people don't play with Moranian very often, and I don't actually even know what the prompt is there. Like, does it if you have both wrestle and block, does it just prompt you to use wrestle first, and then if you press no, the block fires?
Well, it doesn't. Oh, this could be big.
Here we go. Well,
it's all good for the elves.
Yes. If this is an opportunity for the elves here. I mean, if the Nurgle, it's not likely, but if the Nurgle happened to fail a thing here and like turn over, the elves could just run forward. But the only way that's going to happen is if the Nurgle turn over before they want to, or turn over accidentally. Because otherwise, they're just going to need some blocks. Then they're going to pick up the ball and get it safe. Okay, so you choose both down, then it asks you if you want to wrestle or not. And if you don't wrestle, it's like, cool, well, you have blocks, so nothing happens. But if you do wrestle, it'll wrestle them both. Got it. Apple pies, come on, we want casualties.
Well, Apple Pies has only gotten one casualty so far.
Oh, a lot of stuns.
I think all Apple Pies is going to go for that thrower there.
I would be very surprised if he doesn't. Although, if he follows up, he'll be marked, and he'll want to follow if he wants to pile on. Unless we, like, run. No matter what we do.
So something I haven't noticed this whole game is it's very sunny.
Is it?
Yeah, it's been very sunny this whole game.
Oh. Well, there hasn't been any passes, so it doesn't really matter. Well, there's been the one vanity pass. I always don't notice very sunny because the icon looks so similar to nice weather, and, like, there's no
I usually don't notice until, like, the second half when I say, where's the blue cloud?
Or when I try to throw, I'm like, why is that a 3+? Or, like, why is that a 4+? Oh, that's what you wanted out of that. I was going to say, if you get it both down, you don't have to follow up. But it doesn't need to pile on either, because...
This was... Yeah, that could not have gone better.
There's the Apo. Well, one
Apo.
Apo.
I 100% agree with that Apo right now.
I think so, too. Yeah, some of the weather effects are weird. Like, some of the visual effects are weird in general. Like, the Magic Dome is annoying, and it makes the whole pitch look weird. It looks weird when it's sweltering heat, too. Like, everything is weirdly orange, and I don't like that either. But they do need some visual effects, but some of them are strange. He has 2 Apos, Saima, which I think is why you Apo there.
If he had 1 Apo, I don't think I would have done that. But he's got 2, and we got to think about overtime right now. And I think in overtime, you want that player to make a quick score.
I think I agree with you there, Darkest. Some sort of, like, just indicator that... Because the weather can just start in a particular way, and then it'll only change if you get the weather kickoff event. So if the weather starts something that isn't nice... I think it should be like, the weather is blah, 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 with like a pop-up or an animation or something, just so you notice before the kickoff event. Although the downside to that is that you'd get that animation, and then the kickoff event would be like, changing weather, very nice, and then it just goes away, and you're like, well, why did you waste my time? But I think the case, the rare case when that happens, is probably worth the annoyance when you get the benefit of knowing when the weather is different ahead of time. No, the elves don't want another drive. They super want this to go to overtime, I think. And the Nurgle...
No one wants an air drive, but I think the elves are stuck with getting an air drive if they want to win.
Well, I mean overtime, if you count overtime as another drive. Yeah, the Nurgle want to score on turn 16. The elves don't want the Nurgle to score, or they want to score themselves, but, you know, that's a bit of an ask. So this is going to be a pretty tight fight around the end zone around turn 15, 16, I think.
I don't see how he has a 1-die with a leap, since there's guard everywhere around it.
Guard, he could come in on right. He could 1-die from here. Is the only square that'll 1, or here are the only squares that 1-dies are possible from. or these two behind the Pestigore, and you have to go all the way around and take away this assist. Yeah, guard.
Guard's a pretty good skill.
There's a foul. Get rid of that beast. He's been annoying.
I don't like that foul because you just put him where there's a counter assist.
And the beast just stands up and is like, cool, 4 elves for me to play with. I mean, it was a 2+ to stand up, and, you know, the elves did have a bribe, but I don't know. That's one of those situations where if it works, it's great. If it fails, it's really, really bad. So you probably shouldn't try it. There are certain situations where if it works, it's great. If it fails, it doesn't really matter. And this is not one of those. Yeah, if you tag this Rodder, you could block from here. This guy was on his feet. So you couldn't do it from here or here, because he was on his feet at the start of the turn. But you could have knocked him down, technically, yeah, and then gone in from here if you tag this guy. The downside is it's a 1-die against Lodge. But the leap guy does at least have wrestle, so you're looking for a both down or a POW, which is a 5+ equivalent 1-die. Is you're looking for 2 specific results in a 6-sided die, so it's basically a 5+ on a 1-die, which is a 75% if you're willing to dedicate a reroll to it.
You know, your last reroll.
Yeah, but it's your last reroll, and your goal here is going to overtime, probably, so I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah. I also don't think if all apple pies gets a KO, I don't think he's piling on anymore.
Or not 75%, it's a 4+ that the reroll. I mean, math is hard, it's too early. This is where Shadora would yell at me for having multiple math degrees. It's a good point. I mean, you might not get a better chance. But I think the elves are willing to take that risk to see if they do get a better chance. Because right now, they're in a situation where not losing is kind of what they're aiming for. Like, a win is very difficult unless they go to overtime. But not losing means they go to overtime. So, you know, when their best situation is tying and the likely situation is losing, I don't know, it's a tough choice, right? Like, you could take the opportunity because you might not have a better chance, but you also might say, there might be a better chance in a few turns if I'm lucky, and I'm willing to gamble that I get a better chance later, because I'd rather have the better chance to do it than use this not better chance, even if I don't get a better chance. I don't know. I feel like I'm explaining myself poorly there, but it's a different aspect of risky play. It's not risky in that, like, I'm doing a hard thing. It's risky in that I hope I end up in a situation where I can do a slightly easier thing. And if you play well, maybe you can force that situation. We'll see.
I don't like how... okay. I didn't realize he was going to move him. I just didn't like that we waited so long to put that guy up.
Oh, double GF. Makes the second GFI after failing the first one with no reroll is a little scary. But I think you wanted to.
Very scary for me. I think for an entire season I had Sure Feet, and every time it activated, it rolled a 1.
I think you had to, otherwise that elf could have just gone in. Oh, well. Last reroll.
Oh,
loner.
And the loner too.
Never mind. Well, there you go.
I think that's Nurgle's taking it away now.
Very likely. Yeah, it was a really tough turn or decision last turn for the High Elves, I think, and they went with 1, and it didn't work out because that just happened. The Nurgle probably just breathed a bit of a sigh of relief. They're going to move forward. They're going to get into a nice solid cage. They're going to mark up elves. They're going to punch elves, and they're going to be pretty happy with what occurred. I don't know if that was a misclick. It might have been, but he had... I think I'm not sure what the play was there. I don't remember the situation they were in, but it might have been. I'm unsure. I mean, he does have a dodge agility guy, but I think what he was trying to do was dodging this guy out, and then marking up one of the Rotters so that he could dodge out the dodge agility guy and then leap in and 1-die it. Like, I think we were doing that.
I'm thinking it might have just been a misclick, like he just didn't see that warrior next to him.
I mean, maybe.
Getting some tunnel vision, and then he had to double down when he failed.
And yes, this guy doesn't have dodge. There's an injury. Yeah, he doesn't have dodge, it's leap. Although it is kind of hard to see with all these skills.
You accept that now, and every injury is okay if it's not a perm.
Yeah, basically. Feel like that's a big... Well, I guess this is over for Blissful Fire, and then now he's just going to try to keep his players alive.
There's always next season. Nothing important got hurt.
That's very true. I mean, you lost a regular old loner elf, but he's not even yours, so who cares? All apple pies.
This next game, but he's fine.
Nothing.
I think I reroll this.
Why? It's Frenzy. We get to do it again.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Never mind. Forgot about the Frenzy.
Well, you could reroll that if you wanted to, I guess, but you don't need to because you're pushing him into getting somewhere else.
I was just thinking, because he's the agility guy, that he had a decent chance of going after the ball and maybe turning this around.
No, we can...
but now it's too much. There's too many dice rolls now.
We also get to 3-die the agility guy with the beast if you want to. But he went with the Nurgle Warrior and found the both down, which, I mean, I guess is good enough because it puts the wrestle guy on the floor and eats up some of his movement, but...
Yeah, I think you just take that.
This guy is now free, but he can't really reach. Can he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not really. Not with a bit of dodges. And the Agi guy can reach, but it's also a bunch of dodges and GFIs and tentacles. So, you know, it's possible, but difficult. It was a good push onto the beast, I think, yeah. I mean... So, this is where we see what Blissful Fire is made of. Is this a click Agi, click ball, pray? Or is this a, I'm going to run away turn? Let's see if Blissful Fire has the fortitude to risk it for the biscuit.
He has my respect if
he clicks Agi, clicks ball, prays?
Yep. Well, I mean, you got to do some leaps in there, but yeah.
Well, yeah, metaphorically, click Agi, click ball. Not physically.
Yeah, no, I'll have some respect as in I'm still trying to win
it's actually not bad at all. He's got a 2+ leap or 3+ leap. I don't know. 2+ leap.
Oh, looks like we're going for it. Going for a leap here.
Well, so it's going to be tentacles and then leap and then a 2+.
Oh, but the tentacles.
Double ones. So even if it was the dodge, it just would have failed. All right. Well, great. No, it wasn't terrible because it was a 3+. 3+10. It was the tentacles first, which is like an 8+, I think, on 2 dice. Then a 3+, 2+, 1 die. So not bad at all, but the tentacles was the hardest part.
I like this catcher up here, just throwing that little bit of pressure on the ball.
Oh yes, Agi 5. Sorry, I forgot about that. So 2+. So yeah, it'd be 3+, 2+, 2+, 2+, 2+ GFI, and then 1 die. But the hardest part was the tentacles, and we doubled 1 dis, so you know that wasn't gonna happen. I think the tense is an 8+. Maybe 9. I don't remember. I never actually counted.
Yes, I think it is.
It
is an 8+.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta think it out. Shadowing is the one I always forget.
Yeah, because it's not like directly comparing something. Normally, you're like, hey, I know a dodge roll is normally a whatever, and then you add 1 for every Agi or whatever. But Tentacles is like, take your strength and subtract there, and then they have to roll 2 dice, and it has to be 5 or less. And it's like this weird, I always forget the 5. It's a weird formula that never seems to really matter, for me anyway. So if you win your match in a bit, it looks like you get Nurgle. I don't have the bracket open.
Oh yeah, that's Jeff. He's gonna play Stouticus if he wins.
There you go. I won't open the bracket then, and Mr. Christie will just drop the knowledge for me.
Stouticus pointed that out to me because Jeff was in our division that we recapped.
There you go. Well, don't forget to no spoilers. We have a general sort of 24-hour-esque spoiler policy on
Oh yeah,
playoff
well
games.
he hasn't played his game yet, so there's no spoilers to happen.
Oh, I know, but while Jeff is playing, if anybody's in chat, don't be like, hey, it's going to be Stouticus.
Actually, I had to call it Stouticus because he's trying to drop spoilers during our recap.
Spoilers. Spoiler McSpoiler
like,
pants.
Yeah, I was just like, no, you can't do that. The game just happened the day we recorded.
Generally, try to give 24 hours before spoiling things. If you must discuss games that have just happened, please do it in the Playoff Spoilers channel, so people do not get spoiled if they feel like watching replays back or checking it out themselves. We have a little bit of hype and fun around the playoffs, and we'd like to make sure that everybody is enjoying themselves. And I think 24 hours is a pretty reasonable wait period. Nurgle, nice and safe here. Oh, well, really stupid. Ooh. I like how the Nurgle have basically just put like half their team on the one edgy guy, and they're like, there, deal with this. Everybody else I don't care about. It's this one guy. And I did say that before the game started, right? Like, he's the scariest piece for the Nurgles, so they do want to watch out for him. Stouticus, I would not be surprised, considering we have a reroll and we're already 1-0 and the Elves can't do much, if we aim to try to score on that rookie Pestigore. It's a little greedy in playoffs because it is 1-1 and you have to score if you want to win.
It is a little greedy.
But I wouldn't be surprised if you tried.
If it's safe around the ball, like there's no good elf pickups.
Yeah,
I try.
It has to be very safe around the ball, and you try the handoff on turn 15 and then protect the rookie.
Yeah.
So that
and if that fails, turn 16, just pick it up with the add G4.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way that you try to make that happen. In my play too safe mind, there are certainly coaches out there that would be hyper aggressive on trying to get SPP there, but that's not me. It is still a 2+ to get away, but it is either going to waste. It's going to waste some movement if he runs around, or if he leaps and then dodges. He's at least doing it off tackle.
Oh, there we go. There's a nice little leap.
Now he has to 2+ away off tackle, and he can't really reach very far or reach anywhere relevant, but he is going to be a threat.
Tackle doesn't matter here.
Oh, right, he doesn't have dodge.
And he made some GFIs too.
Everyone assumes he has dodge. He doesn't. I made that mistake. He's now a threat, right? So the Nurgle probably, if he hands off to the Pestigore here, you are insane. Do not do that. I would.
Oh, did I miss a tentacle fail? I did.
Yes.
Because I was wondering why the frenzy guy didn't.
Oh boy.
No! Oh. Yeah. No. Okay. No handoff now.
Blitz the catcher with all apple pies is probably the first thing I would have done here. You need to make him on the floor, please.
Got cage up a lot right now.
And you can't get very much guard in there, annoyingly enough, but you can get some. Hit this guy. All apple pies him. Do it. You have to. You could also go with the frenzy piece, because then you get 4 dice. But I think I would rather take the claw mighty blow piling on. I mean, the claw doesn't matter because he's number 7, but he doesn't have dodge and he has wrestle. It's pretty likely to put him on the floor with a 2 die regardless of who it comes from, and so you might as well do it with the guy who could potentially permanently remove him from the second turn. No, he's going with the frenzy, trying to get the 4 die. Okay, well, good thing we did, because that's a double push. And we'll try again. Quad push.
All the pushes needed.
We can do this.
Oh no, he did that guy because he has Juggernaut.
Oh yes,
so you can't cancel out the wrestle.
Right, that's very true. That's a good point. Although I would have been.
I mean, you get 4 dice and 1 extra thing that can knock him down.
And even if you do get 4 pushes, you push him twice further away from the ball. I think that's definitely the safer thing.
That was definitely the better play than all apple pies.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say better because there's a good chance at removing with piling on Mighty Blow or stunning, which is better than just pushing him away. But I think this is probably a safer play, as it were.
I think
lower
right now, if we want to get through the playoffs, you need to be safe now for Staticus.
I think the word I'm looking for is lower variance. Using the frenzy piece, you're more likely to get in a favorable or like decent situation, but you're more likely to get into a great situation with the all apple pies thing. But it's also more likely to get into a knockout
I'd also
situation.
like to say, compared to the all apple pies, that you have more chances to knock the guy down, which is
he's just going to
score now.
I was about to go into that because the that Agi 5 piece is he was in range. He had a pretty easy one die because there was an elf that could have just stood up and taken away both assists next to the ball. So that was a pretty easy Agi 5 one die for the elves. So Staticus electing
to stop the elves from getting one turn. Hope a riot doesn't happen.
The elves have 2 turns. Because that was a turn early?
They also have 1 turn because they started.
Oh, right, yes. You're correct. So it is... I forgot
and there's actually a KO that failed.
Despite the 2 babes, yeah. So the elves are going to be down 2 players for this. And the Nurgle will have to... they set up to prevent the 1 turn. Pray we don't get a... Can we get a riot? Do we have a gate? We do not. We have a squig sandwich stand. So the...
Yeah, this is a Staticus Stadium, and you took the boring squig sandwich kiosk.
Oh, well, because he has the frenzy piece. Oh wait, no, sorry. This is the throw rock. Get the ref one.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I think those are the squig sandwich and the security gate are probably the 2 better ones for like a Nurgle bash team.
They're the boring ones.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you don't want to give your opponent...
Nuffle's Altar is the best one. Everyone get Nuffle's Altar.
I mean, it's really good for goblins. And surprisingly, anybody who can get Boomer, or bear like dwarves, it's weirdly good for because they can get Boomer for 10k.
Yeah, despite the fact dwarves don't usually get inducements, it's good for them.
10k to get another Longbeard, basically, or Norse
for
can do that
one
too.
half, but yeah.
Yeah, it's 10k. That's nuts. I like the security gate generally because this is the exact situation that I like the security gate in. Right, you have just done your drive, you've done your 2-1 grind. Your opponent now gets a chance to 1 turn. To tie the game and send you to overtime, and then they get a riot and they get 2 turns and they score and you go to overtime and then lose. Whereas if you had the security gate, you don't get the riot here, and then all you have to do is prevent the 1 turn.
I believe Staticus has the squig sandwich because one of his best players got killed by a rock before.
That's fair, and I think the not letting your opponents get a free bribe is pretty worth it as well. On a team that's likely to pile on. You're just giving your opponent an option to remove one of your players. Although Blissful Fire literally hasn't used his bribe yet, has he? No. He's fouled a couple times, but has never had to use the bribe.
He's fouled, it just hasn't resulted in anything.
Yeah. But this is the...
once.
This exact situation is why I advocate for the security gate on a bash team, or why I personally like using a security gate on a bash team, is for this exact situation right here. Is if we get a riot,
I'll be fair. Security gate is more interesting than squig sandwich because you're just trying to throw a rock with that one.
Yeah. The real memery and exciting big brain stadium is the Royal Box. Very clearly, get the Royal Box.
I'll still argue Nuffle's Altar, even though we're going for the meme there.
Oh, I mean the Royal the Royal Box is extra boring because it literally doesn't it's nothing that you can interact with. It's just hey, fan factor. Well, we set up for the. Are we gonna set up? So the elves are set up. Here's the kick. No extra reroll, so no riot.
Can we get the 1 turn? Probably not. I think he might have set up for a.
I think he set up for the riot.
Sidestep. Yeah, or a sidestep, or quick snap, maybe.
Yeah, I think he set up in a way that a quick snap or a riot would have solved this for him.
But no, it looks like we're just gonna try and get some SPP on someone.
I think that's probably fair. The 1 turn is pretty unlikely with Nurgle being around.
I think just how he set up, it's not possible now.
Well, no, I mean, but his setup in general.
Yeah.
I think setting up for trying to take advantage of the riot or a quick snap is a good play here. Just the straight up one turn is pretty unlikely, and if you happen to get super lucky on the kickoff and get that riot, suddenly you have a really good chance at tying it. I don't hate it, and if you set up for the one turn, it becomes pretty difficult to take advantage of the riot because you need to get a whole bunch of pushes and stuff.
Oh, okay, that was a pass to himself.
Unfortunately, it doesn't give you any SPP, but all right. Yeah, safe throw.
Oh, that was safe throw? No, it's
No, it's
inaccurate pass though.
No, it's not safe throw because it was a 2.
It was an inaccurate pass, and it just happened to land right where he was.
Yeah, it was an inaccurate pass that scattered back into his own hands. Because that was a 2, not safe throw. No, this is my ball. You can't have it. Oh man, that's funny. Well, there you go. This is going to be Stouticus going on to the round of 32 in the REBBL playoffs, playing the winner of Jeff and whoever Jeff is playing shortly after this. I don't remember who Jeff is playing. Very Sunny making a thing. Yeah, that's true. Very Sunny is what was making that made that even possible. If it wasn't Very Sunny, he would only fail on a 1, and then safe throw is a thing. But because Very Sunny, he failed on the 2, and then it scattered back.
Actually, safe throw doesn't do anything on the 1.
Does it not?
No, it says any roll but a natural 1.
Oh right, never mind. So, but Very Sunny did do a thing still. Going Laham in about an hour. There you go. Yeah, it was pretty good. There were some interesting things. Blissful Fire. Blissful Fire has just jumped into chat now that his turn is over and his game is over. I think the one major thing that I disagree with was the wizard. I don't think I liked using the wizard there.
That was definitely yeah, I disagree on the use of the wizard there.
I think the rest of it, there's not a whole lot you could do. There were a couple of really unlucky turns. Or really unlucky things, like a lot of tentacles failures. I'm curious. There's two things I'm curious about now that you're here. Did you forget that Moranian has wrestle for the reroll when you were scoring in the before?
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a big one. Because I understand if you forgot, because at the moment I forgot he had wrestle. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there's an injury. And the other one was the dodge out with the loner earlier in this half that you failed and tried to reroll. What was the was that on purpose, or was there an attempt? My thought was you're dodging him out to put him on somebody so you could use the Agi 5, but other people thought it might have been a misclick because you started the turn with a loner dodge. Yeah, it was for the leap. Okay, that's what I expected. Yeah, that's what my guess was, is he was dodging that loner out so that he could then use the Agi 5 guy and leap. And you can't do that the other way around because you need to use the guy with leap to leap. Turns out that's how leap works. But some people in chat were wondering if it was a mistake. But that was my thought, so there you go. Those are the questions I had. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. That means that congratulations to Stouticus and commiserations to Blissful Fire.
Man, that Tentacles was really good this game.
It was super good. The Tentacles did work. Tentacles were so good. That is better than average, and the foul appearance was a little bit better than average, but not by, I think, just by 1 roll, so not very much. So within
Tentacles is a really good skill, but only if you have high strength.
Yeah, it's elude grip is pretty useless. It turns out because Tentacles on strength 3 doesn't really do anything. All right, well, I would love to send you guys off to another playoff stream, but there currently is not another one going on. The next one is Foul Targets versus Going Laham in about 1 hour from now. That is Jeff, who's currently in the chat. I'd send you guys over to another playoff stream, but there currently isn't one, so I can't do that. So we'll just end things here.
Yeah, that happens every time I end this Blood Bowl stream. No one else is playing.
Well, people are, but I'd much rather host a playoff stream than send all of our REBBL folks to a non-playoff Blood Bowl thing. So I'm just not going to. I don't know if that's bad manners or not, but I don't think I will. Thanks everybody for hanging out and watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of today with a boatload of playoff games to watch, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the playoff season. And don't forget to sign up for next season if you're interested in playing Rebel. It'll be after Christmas. We've got a little bit of an extra break considering playoffs are supposed to end right at Christmas. So we'll see everybody for the next season 13 in the new year. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks to Mr. Christie for co-casting with me.
Yeah, no problem.
And
I just had to call out Saukis on anything he did wrong.
That's very fair. And I had to a little bit too, considering he was one of the coaches that I recap for. So thanks everybody. I will see you next time I stream, which is a little bit later today. I'm playing a clan game, but it's during other playoff games, so go watch the playoff games. Don't watch me play clan. Watch playoffs. But I'll be online in case you happen to really like me instead of playoffs for some reason. But thanks so much everybody. I've been Sigmans, and we will see you next time.